we have an issue and we have to remedy our well or septic, we'll likely not be given a permit and will be required to hook up to and pay for those services. We're not interested. Loss of appeal to prospective buyers seeking agricultural zoning freedoms and rural agricultural lifestyle. Also in cases of industrial or general business zoning, that is the case for a couple of us, or a few of us, buyers will be likely unable to secure a residential mortgage. We firmly believe the proposed zoning of our properties does not reflect our wishes and offers no discernible benefit. The current agricultural zoning supports the rural agricultural character and lifestyle that we chose when we purchased our properties. Preserving our agricultural zoning is essential to maintain the integrity of our rural agriculture community and the quality of life it affords. Beyond our immediate area, the proposed rezoning affects about 1,000 other properties throughout the city of Wyoming, most of whom are not aware of this. Only 3 of the 18 properties in this petition were aware of this. That's less than 20%. Due to limited and ineffective communication from the city. By signing this petition, we respectively urge the City of Wyoming leadership to take the following actions for the proposed zoning. Maintain the agricultural zoning for all citizen-owned properties along East Viking, 288th and 275th Street that are currently zoned agriculture, and there's a map illustrating where we are. Suspend decision or approvals of other affected City of Wyoming properties until meaningful public engagement has occurred. Send direct individual communication to all affected property owners outlining proposed changes and their implications. When we have a new assessment, we get an individual letter. This should be treated the same. Host additional public forums to explain the rezoning proposal, answer questions, and gather feedback from residents. We ask that our voices be heard, our concerns taken seriously. We appreciate your time and consideration on this very important matter.
Okay, thank you. You can give that to Mr. Linwood. All right, thank you. The next person who wants to come up to speak. And again, I'm just reminding you to have something different each time, just because there's so many people.
Marge Strand. I live in Forest Lake. I own SRC Recycle Center and Transfer Station here in Wyoming and have been an owner there since 1980 personally. I own quite a bit of land in this agricultural area you're looking at rezoning to single family and multiple family homes. I have every confidence that Mr. Linwood, our city administrator, has the ability to direct anyone coming into his office seeking residential building potential, commercial, industrial, whatever. I believe that he knows this community that he works with, and he can direct people appropriately, even though they are zoned. I'm zoned agriculture. If somebody comes in and wants to build something like Polaris, I've got the land to do it. I believe that our current system is not broken right now, so don't fix it. You are taking away my rights as a property owner to choose my future and the future of my family. And I would urge you to keep the zoning currently as is and allow each property owner to make their own decision on what needs to go forward.
Thank you, Ms. Strand. Next person?
Good evening, Philip Russell, 25869 Emerald. Coming the Summer Fields redesign several years ago when that addition first went in. Things were 75 feet, lot to lot, given number of houses. Now they want to go down to 65 feet, cram more in, and hook 258th Street up as a through street. We are a dirt road from the start of my property all the way to the end of 258th. Strongly object to that. The dust, the dirt was already bad on these dry summers. The previous layout had a turnaround at the end of the new development. This new drawing now has a road that is going to extend further to an abutted road, looking like it's ready to go into another open field that's taken some room. I request that they redesign that, put the roundabout back in, turnaround back in, and slide things down so that, obviously the builder wants to get as many houses in there as he can. That's how he makes money. It doesn't make for a better community when you cram them in either. The reduction in lot size just gets silly. It's going to be like across Kettle River Boulevard now. We got 50-foot lots and you can reach out and touch your neighbor. I'm Not sure why the city thinks they have to cram more and more and more houses in. I believe we're out of the Met Council script. Why are we cramming all these in? Somebody, please. Why maximum density?
Well, I will say this, there's a lot of want for smaller land, smaller plots of land, because they don't want to, people now don't really want to take care of a yard, they want to have enough garage space for their toys, that sort of thing. So it's really what need is showing right
I
now.
was here for a variance request for the stuff east of Kettle River Boulevard.
Yeah.
To reduce even more so they could put a 3-car garage on. It's like, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah,
You want more room or less room?
yeah, yeah. Well,
So
we really
that
appreciate,
reduction doesn't make sense to me.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Just one quick question. Are you talking the round or a turnaround at the north end of Emerald where it's dirt?
No, there's already a turnaround there, the buses.
It's
and
kind
the
of where
calls
you-
and
they
the
back
turnaround.
in,
It's the
yeah.
new section coming in from the south
Okay.
255th. Approach, I'll show you quick what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'd like to see, because,
Did they have like, was it a cul-de-sac originally?
So they've now.
Okay,
got
I know where
this
that is.
turnaround
Yep.
here Previously, in that old design, it's just cut off here. So this
Which-
is old dirt from.
which way's
here on.
north on this one?
That's right.
Mr. Linwood, would you
Yeah.
be able to provide the
appreciate that.
council at the next meeting what Mr. Russell is talking about?
Yep, I certainly can.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Appreciate it.
Yeah, unfortunately,
That's- Yeah, if we can, Mr. Wack, if we can provide it at the next meeting, please.
It's on page 194 through 5 is where the drawings are.
Perfect.
They don't quite go there. Yeah, we can get that.
All right,
But
Thank you.
It used to be a cul-de-sac and then we put it
It
through.
did, and they had a leg that went and connected it also. The issue is that that cul-de-sac is now, I don't have to measure in front of me, will be limit permanent dead ends at 300 feet. It's way longer than 300 feet.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was making that connection to 258th Street. And the reason why 258th Street dead ends the way it is for future connection to another road. So that's been the plan since 258th Street was originally built, was a connection to the road.
Okay.
Make a comment. It was connecting to rural at that time, not to.
It was connecting to a road.
Yeah. Grand town, piece of track.
okay. All right, next. Anyone else? Wow, there's a lot of you here and not too many coming up. Okay. All right, we'll move on then to number 1. Consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for August 6th, 2025. If there are no questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Luger and a second by member Schilling. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items to be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and actions if they choose. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and number 13. Do we have any council member that would like to push or pull an item from the consent agenda?
I'd like to pull number 3.
Okay, member Onstead wants to pull number 3. All right, anybody else? No? All right, we need a motion to approve 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by member Schilling. I'll make the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 3, to consider the retirement of Sergeant Brian Rod from the Wyoming Police Department. Member Onstead.
I'd just like to thank him for his years of service and the efforts that he's put in for the community, making this a safer place to be. And I know that he's responded when I've called many times, and he's always been very professional over the years, and I have a feeling that people in the city feel the same way. So he will be missed, and hopefully whoever's coming in to backfill will set him as an example.
Great. Do we have a date set for council time?
It's at the end of the year, so
Okay.
he was just generous in providing
That's
significant notice to allow us to backfill the position, give us enough time to do that, so,
Okay,
yes.
perfect, appreciate that. All right, we need a motion to approve the retirement of Sergeant Brian Rod from the Wyoming Police Department. Member Onstad, do you want to make that first?
I will.
And we need a second?
Second.
We have a second by Member Schilling, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so approved. We'll move on to acknowledge receipts of reports of officer boards and commissions and department heads. Number 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Is there any report that council wishes to pull? Seeing none, we'll move on to communication. Number 19, monthly performance measures fire Q2 225. Who's taking that one?
That will be
Oh, that'd be
me.
you. Oh,
Yeah,
thanks,
thank
Chief
you.
Bauer.
Yes, Mayor Everson, members of council, as you may remember, we are starting to track fire department performance measures in 2025, and I realized that there was an error on the heading. It was listed quarter Q1, so this is
Okay.
Q2. Just a couple things to bring forward. Call volume remains fairly consistent with some increases in May. In June, May, they responded to 34 calls, which is a significant number, bringing the total for the year up to 159 calls so far this year. Response times still remain favorable, meeting our benchmarks that we have set up, with the limitation of some of the information available from dispatch. It's the first responding vehicle, not necessarily the first responding vehicle that can intervene. So still working on trying to find a better way to report those numbers. Across the board, our responder numbers remain good, especially for medicals. Structure fires and those other type of fires, we're looking at about a 41% of our goal. We do have a goal of 10 responders, and we still are challenged to meet that number, and motor vehicle crashes as well, still looking for additional responders in those. But they continue to do good work with what is responding. Incident commander on scene, still good numbers there. Medicals are the one that we're maybe not hitting the 90% of the time, but that's not really the expectation. Medicals are they're first responding on those. We continue to provide much more mutual aid to other cities than we receive. We only have 2 this year so far that we've received mutual aid and provided 7 calls. Public education and community outreach have been good for June and July, and we'll see more of that as the year goes on, and then as winter comes in, it does decrease until December when we have our events. Recruitment retention, still looking to try and receive 3 applications for firefighter and EMS responder. We received 2 of each of those in the second quarter. And then as you look at the next, our active firefighter numbers continue to decrease, starting with 24 and we're down to 21 as of June. Looking to continue to try and increase those numbers as well. Then we'll have the EMS responders. You'll start seeing that in quarter 3, being on the books for that. Equipment age, nothing new here. Our ladder truck is at its end of life. We're working on how to navigate that as we move forward. And then we continue we're not providing any fire inspections at this time, but as we discussed in the budget workshop, we are looking for that part-time position for 2026 to help with that role. So any questions that council may have?
Yeah, Chief Bauer, I have 2.
Sure.
First one would be the mutual aid, and you
Right.
said 2 versus 7. Who are we providing that mutual aid for?
It is across the board. If I remember correctly, when I pulled the numbers, it was many different agencies across the board. It's not just one specific city.
Okay.
So that would be
bigger-
Stacy, Forest Lake, all the surrounding communities.
Bigger fires, bigger.
It's just whoever has things burning. Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're talking retention or bringing
Right.
more firefighters in. I really do believe the fire department has done really great videos. And they've been very responsive, millions of views, so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
What are you seeing the trends within the state in terms of why we may not be getting
Yeah.
recruits in?
Paid on call is a difficult position to fill in general. People are prioritizing their time differently. There's a lot of different factors. Facilities is probably one of them that I believe we're looking at addressing. And just in general, it's a difficult role to fill. But we're looking at a couple different ways, some wellness initiatives, some compensation changes, and those type of things as we move forward to try and mitigate some of those impacts across the state.
Okay, so if anybody is watching this or sitting in the audience, we have an amazing fire department. So if you know friends or whatever that would like to be a part of this great group, then highly recommend you join our fire department. So that's
Absolutely.
my commercial for the day.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's go with Member Yeager.
Oh, no questions.
Okay. Member Schilling,
No questions on this, thank you.
Member Onstad.
No questions.
And Member Luker.
Also no questions.
All right, thank you very much for the report, we appreciate it. New business, number 20, to consider resolution 250881, a resolution approving the preliminary plot D 25004, Mayorga Meadows, location 7580, 250th Street, application Neo Mayorga, property ID 21.10508.00. Mr. Weck?
I was not here for the whole
Okay.
presentation, so I think all these are being handled.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay.
handling the presentations, and then Mr. Weck and I will be sharing some of the questions for these.
Perfect, thank you.
So, you're welcome. Mayor, members of council, overview of this is a subdivision of a preliminary plat and final plat. You can see there the site location, just west of Comfort Lake, and then some of the existing conditions. Currently, this is zoned R1, Rural Residential 1. It isn't, it is part of our shoreline management overlay. You can see there where it's just a portion there, right by it. Preliminary plat and final plat, you'll see that they have divided this into lot 1 is 9.78 acres, and lot 2, 4.66 acres, with a total wetland area of 4.49 acres total. Zoning standards for this, you can see the different components for this in regards for lot width, lot depth, lot size, front yard setback, side yard setback, and rear setback are essentially within the R1, and then the shoreland rules, and then the proposed are acceptable to this. Easements on the east property line, there would be a shared access on this, and the wetland complications would not allow for an additional driveway for this particular property. Recommendations and next steps. There is conditions outlined in the staff report for the city council that were recommended by the planning commission. So we would recommend that the planning commission, staff and planning commission have recommended approval with those conditions. And we can stand for any questions at this point.
All right, let's start with Member Schilling,
I don't have any questions.
Member Onstad.
You talk about that, non-availability of entryway?
So they would be utilizing a shared driveway for the particular, there isn't a room based on the wetlands, there isn't a room to actually have two separate driveways, so there would be a shared driveway for the
Okay,
two parcels.
On the east side of the,
Oh. Correct, I'm sorry, Mr. Weck?
It's an existing driveway to the landlocked parcel to the north.
Yes.
Okay.
They'll be sharing that same driveway.
Okay.
And they have an easement to use the driveway on this property.
okay. No further questions.
Member Yeager.
This property came before us in 2022 for a similar lot split. Did they have to pay double then? Because the first permit ran out?
Yes, they did.
Oh, and they had to pay double park fees and all that?
They have not made the parking yet, so that would be.
So that will be single?
That'll be single, yeah, just the application fees.
Okay,
And we haven't received the bill from the WSB for the staff report, but it is primarily a continuation of that prior staff report, so I don't suspect that will be awarded.
oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, and to Member Yeager. I'm sorry, Luker.
No questions. I was like, I thought you just.
You know what, I was trying to get to 100%. It's not happening tonight.
I have no questions, thank you.
All right. We need a motion to approve Resolution 250881, a resolution approving the preliminary plat D 25004, Mayorga Meadows. I'm not going to read all the rest of it. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 21, to consider Resolution 250882, a resolution approving the final plat D 25005, Mayorga Meadows, location 7580, 250th Street, application Neo Mayorga, property ID 21.10508.00. Mr. Linwood?
Again, Mayor, this is just the final, that we approved the
Okay.
preliminary
Preliminary.
plat. This will be just for the final plat for Mayorga Meadows.
Okay. And any further questions? Anybody think anything? Nope. All right, so we need a motion to approve Resolution 250883. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 23, to consider Resolution 250884, a resolution approving a conditional use permit for a 140-foot mail pole. Is that how you say that? Monopole?
We missed
Monopole?
one?
I think
Telecommunications.
sorry, I think
What?
we
Missed
missed.
one.
We
Did I
missed.
miss one?
Yeah.
Oh, Summerfield. Sorry, guys.
Number 20.
Jesse's like, what? All right. Let's see. Did I miss, which one?
Well, I just wanted to, I think for
Am
the
I-
record, I think you got jumped. So the last motion, I think the last resolution, you stated it as 250883. That should have been 250882.
Yeah, because
Um,
that's what I have on my agenda.
Correct, yeah, so I think we just got, I think we jumped over that top of the page, so, if we can just rescind the previous motion and just procedurally, the intent, I believe, was to approve 250882, and then we'll go into 250883.
Okay. So we need to make a motion to rescind Resolution 250883 as approved.
Correct.
Okay. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Okay, so what number is that one
So
then?
now you need to approve 250882, which is the continuation of the Mayorga Meadows.
That'll be agenda
Yeah, I
item
know,
20.
that's what I thought we did. Okay, here we go. To consider Resolution 250882,
82, yes. Yep.
a resolution approving the final plot, D 25005, Mayorga Meadows. All right. No more questions. Any questions? Okay. Am I correct? We're on the right way now. We're on the right lane. Okay. So we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Luger. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Okay. Ready? Okay. So Resolution 250883, a resolution amending the conditional use permit for the planned unit development, not development, Summerfield's 4th edition C25004, application Central North LLC, property ID 21.10582.50. Mr. Weck? No, we're still
I'll be
going over
starting out,
here.
yes.
All right.
All right.
I'm ready.
Mayors, this is the Summerfield 4th Edition CUP and PUD amendment
That's what I thought.
for review by the council right now. Guys, for
Yeah, I
that, I
know
don't
what
know. You can see the location here just being off the west side of Kettle River Boulevard, just for proximity for the council. Background, on January 14th, 2020, the Joint Park Planning Commission met to discuss the development and agreed cash in lieu of the land. On September of 2020, WSB finalized an EAW for the subdivision that concluded the project does not have the potential for significant environmental effects. On October 20th of 2020, a preliminary plat request of rezoning parcels containing the subdivision R1 rural residential to R4 1 and 2 family were reviewed and approved by the City Council with recommended conditions from staff. In November of 2020, the city approved a conditional use permit for a planned unit development that applied to the entire development. The applicant also received final plat approval of a 19-lot subdivision, which formed the first phase of Summer Fields. That would be across the street, or excuse me, that is the existing Resolution 2012-115. An additional phase 2 and 3 have been approved. In 2024, the applicant received a PUD amendment to allow reduction of side yard setbacks of 7.5 feet to 5 feet. This area, you can see the existing there to the north, and then this would be the second, this phase, the 4th phase. So the amendment to reduce lot width to a minimum of 65 feet for all the remaining lots. Side yard setbacks remain 5 feet on the interior lots and 15 feet on corner lots. Home lists with 3-car garage are 50 feet. Increase the number of lots from 51 to 60. And then the change in the 250 street and north now through street rather than the cul-de-sac, it prompts the increase in the lots. You need the CUP and the PUD minute, but as of now, it does meet all the 13 conditions. Staff has reviewed that, and then the planning commission did that as well. So you can see the side yard setback shall be 5 feet for 15-yard corner lots. There shall be no construction with the standard drainage and utility easements regardless of the building pad shown in the plans. Public utilities located along the lot lines require greater easements and therefore greater side yard setbacks. All parcels that contain public utilities will provide expanded side yard easements and setbacks as required by the city engineer. The final setbacks and easements of each shall be approved by city staff. The applicant shall install a 258th Avenue paved to city design standards up to the property line of the plat. The applicant shall install a gravel roadway from the property link to link with the existing gravel section of 258th Street. The roadway shall be within the designated right-of-way of the easement and shall not intrude into the adjoining wetland and shall be 24 feet in width. All other conditions of the conditional use permit for the PUD resolution number 2012-115 remain unchanged. That is what the Planning Commission did do at their August 12th meeting, so that is the recommendation tonight is to approval and amend conditional use permit for a planned unit development in the Shoreline District to amend the lot list for Summerfield PUD with the conditions.
Okay, counsel, would you like the applicant to come up?
Excuse me, I should have spoken before.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, yeah, sorry. We'll just let him talk first and then we'll let you come up. Is that okay? Okay. All right, do you want the applicants to come up? Yeah, applicants, could you come up, please? Could you guys come on up, please?
What are you looking at? This is the same as before.
I am.
He's technically, Dave is representing the central.
Sounds good.
I'll let him.
Hi,
Sounds
Mayor. Hi, Mayor and Councilmember. My name is David Patberg. I'm with Centra North and the builder Centra Homes. We've been working with Jesse as we've gone through this process to work on developing the last phases of Summerfield. It's been a good relationship as we've worked with staff, talked through a handful of different items. As we've come forward here, we've heard a little bit of feedback from some of the neighbors. One that hasn't been mentioned at this meeting was kind of stormwater questions. There was a neighbor that reached out to staff and had some questions about stormwater. The stormwater rules are pretty set in stone. We work closely with the city engineer to work on that, making sure we retain the stormwater on site. If you want, we can talk through maybe a little bit more about that. The other question that we've heard is about this 258th road extension. That's what it's labeled on the map. As we've come forward in this latest round with this amendment, we just were totally looking on about safety. And when I talk about safety, talk about ambulance, fire, police, things of that sort. That does roll in a little bit into snow plowing and school buses and garbage collection and things like that. And that's why that's been the major change of that direction from a cul-de-sac to a connection. The city owns the right-of-way from that perspective. Our application is really more about the lot width and the house type that's going on there. As we work in the market today, the home buyer market today, we hear more and more from homeowners that they're more interested in the house than in the lot. And so we start with the house and we say, what size lot needs to fit? That's where we're coming from. Our houses are 50 feet wide, 50 feet wide, and thus having a 65-foot wide lot allows some flexibility with side yard setbacks, things of that sort. So that's really the intent of our application, even though we're ready to talk about the other questions from the neighbors and things of that sort. The push from this perspective of this change in lot count is all about being more efficient with the use of the economics of the site. We're pushing really hard to be able to deliver a house all in, finished under $400,000. There's a lot of factors that go into that, and part of that is increasing the lot count, as well as the housing product we're delivering things. We have all of that kind of in our application. So that's kind of the high level overview, but here for any questions. I'm here with Jesse, who's the landowner, as we've been working closely on that. But
Yeah.
Any questions?
Mr. Linwood, can you go back to the picture of the development, please? Because I want to totally, I am all about safety, and this has come before us in previous developments. So I want to understand exactly where we're talking about, where it was before, where you're putting it through. Mr. Wack, you also said there's another road.
So this is, yeah, so that's where the cul-de-sac was. This is
Okay.
258th Street. I think that's Mr. Russell's property, the one right next to it.
The one next to it, okay.
The dotted line?
Yeah.
Okay,
Where the mouse is there.
Yeah, the dotted lines are showing existing lots.
okay. So before it was a,
They
turn
showed a
around.
cul-de-sac circle. right?
Cul-de-sac
Yeah,
circle,
yeah.
okay.
So
And it basically about 10 feet away from the property line, then they had a little lot that connected the two together.
Okay, and people coming into this development would be most likely coming in from where? Jesse, you might be able to answer that better.
Kettle River, the new connection on Kettle River is where they're gonna come in on primarily.
We find when people buy a house, especially a new house, they use the paved roads.
Mhm.
Yes, they could come in across the gravel road. Our experience is they typically don't, but it would be open. We think our marketing effort, our entrance, where we would start would all be down there at the Kettle River. It would just be that 258th Street would be the last phase or last group of lots we would build. I did a little bit of math while we were here talking. Staff talked about that the standard length of a cul-de-sac within the city is 300 feet. I'm estimating that if we kept the old cul-de-sac at a little over 800 feet, is what was proposed before. So that kind of just gives you some information.
Okay, and are we sure that fire trucks, EMS, snowplows and stuff are gonna be able to get through what is planned right now?
It would meet normal design standards and curve standards for our engineering, would be reviewing those.
So the applicant is here today discussing the lot width.
Yeah.
So there will be a preliminary plat. We have provided comments on that very connection and how that would need to be done to meet our standards. And so
Perfect.
that-
Okay, awesome. All right, and questions from council. We'll start with Member Luger.
So with regard to safety, I'm just wondering, the proposal here is, as you're framing it, is this increases the safety. Is that something that, Chief Bauer, have you been able to assess that? And is there, like, can you speak to kind of like a comparative, like, initial proposal, current proposal, and like what that looks like in terms of better safety?
Not in great detail. That wouldn't be usually, I don't review these that way.
Mr. Wack?
Off the top of my head.
Can we just get like paddles or
Yes,
something?
right?
Like,
Yeah.
Tonight, maybe.
The 300 feet was selected for that reason.
Okay.
Okay.
To allow things to happen and not get so far out that if that intersection was blocked, they couldn't get hoses down the road to get to it. So that's kind of part of all of that.
Gotcha. And then the other question I had was, you had talked briefly about affordability. Does this, I guess, pre and post, does this create more affordable homes?
So in the world that I operate in, I'm always hesitant to use affordability because that implies income restrictions or city contributing to it. This is still a market rate neighborhood. It would be for sale to anybody could buy in it. This is all about allowing us to use the efficiencies of the development and the cost to allow us to sell a house for a little bit less expensive than what was previously proposed. The increase in number of lots allows what I refer to as my lot cost to be a little bit lower because I'm spreading the same cost over more lots. So it allows us to hit an affordability component. I didn't really run the numbers if we would have left it at 51 lots of what the house prices would be. I would expect them to be starting mid-4s or upper 4s. So, I could do some homework, but that's what we're.
It's pretty significant.
Okay.
Which is part of the reason that I'm partnering with Centra versus building them myself. I don't build the volume that Centra does, so they're able to bring out a more affordable product. That's very nice, so that's why
Sure.
it's going this direction. Because that's what the market's dictating right now.
How many more lots overall? And I apologize if this was in the.
It goes from 51 to 60.
51, okay, yeah, okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
Member Yeager?
Oh, okay. The cul-de-sac, and you've said it was way too long. How does that compare to what we gave a variance for at Kennedy Estates? Where they have that long cul-de-sac?
I believe the reason for that one was because their existing entrance, or the new entrance they created to the west of where that cul-de-sac would have to come in, was too close together. The county would not allow them to put the two driveways that close together.
Oh, at Kennedy Estates?
Yeah.
All right, so we had to do, so that's just a whole total,
I did that development.
Yeah, he did that development also. Yeah, so, and that was the reason why that is called Fuller Circle didn't connect to Wyoming Trail, was because it was too close.
it was too close. But now, we just make a loop through the road. We have Euclid, 2 accesses to Kettle River, and then it all just connects, right?
Right.
And,
And then it also has, on the west side, it also then connects over to a development that's Delmonico Estates. There's only 3 lots there now, but they've got another 80 acres that then will be tied into that road.
okay, so for future planning, that road's really gonna have to be connected.
Yes.
Okay. What are the lot sizes on the existing houses on Euclid? Are they 75-foot lots?
Some of them, yeah, they're 78, I believe they're 70, if I remember correctly.
I think there was a minimum of maybe 70 to 75, but as you can see, they kind of pie a little
Yeah,
bit, so.
yeah, they changed
Some of them are a little bit
it.
narrow, some are a little bit.
Averaged out,
Yeah,
basically.
because the 2 next to the other development are wider lots, and it does provide a nice transition.
Correct.
So those lots are 75 feet, and then going down Euclid, and the rest of them you're asking for 65 feet. So like so they'll be visibly closer together.
That's to be debated. I mean, I don't think normal people that aren't in that industry, they won't notice a 5-foot difference on a lot like that, so.
5 foot, it sounds like more like 10-foot difference on a lot.
We're
So-
averaging 70 feet.
Okay,
a lot,
so it's like,
really, it's, could be
so you would-
between 7 to 5,
you would basically, you're not averaging 65 on these, are you? Or these will all be 65?
Designed for 65, because they have a specific home product that they're offering.
Okay,
So that's the difference, where I'm more of a custom builder, so I was able to modify as needed for lot bids. They're not gonna do that.
on the ones that you built, numbers 7 through 10, are they all 70-foot lots, or are they 75-foot lots, or?
7 through 10, where are you talking, I guess?
The phase 1,
Phase 1.
and I see 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, there should have been 19 lots
So
total.
I think she's talking these 4.
Okay, yeah, and those ones look like they would be
I can't
wider.
reach it, you'd have to
Yeah.
reach it, Fred.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you talking about the shaded area or the unshaded?
No, the unshaded area.
Yeah, so that'd be phase 1.
Phase 1, I'm looking at the transition.
Yep. That was the very first set of lots that we did.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
So are they all more the 70 lots, the 70-foot lots at that?
Yep, yeah.
So it's not that much of a transition down to 65-foot lots?
No. Again, I would say honestly, 95% of people would never notice the difference unless you're in the industry.
Okay. And our residents wouldn't quite notice the difference unless they were in the industry. Okay. The other question, are you going to allow Mrs. Delwo to speak, or should I ask their
No,
questions?
no, I will allow her. When
Okay.
we're done with the
That's fine.
questions, and then I will.
You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, you asked your own questions. In which case, I was done. I'm
Okay.
done.
Member Schilling.
So we've approved all of this back in 2020. We basically have a shrinking lot. And I have no objection to it. I know some people do, but I'll be the first to tell you, when this first came through, my wife and I were looking to downside and build over there, and then you guys capped out before we could get our ducks in a row. because we wanted to be over there, and now I've thus since moved. So I'm kind of disappointed, because that's where we wanted to be, but, this is a mirror image, and we're just shrinking a few of the lots to add a few more to make it more, you know, affordable market rate price point. So I don't have any objection to it. It's already been approved, and we're talking about peanuts on size, so.
Okay, Member Ronstadt?
What, we had to put in a resolution to make it down to 70 feet previously, correct?
The original plan unit development agreement, the lots, the sizes they provided, that became the lot size. So the plan unit development, they're not looking at, you know, the rural resident, or the residential requirements of every lot has to be 75 feet in width, or whatever that number, I think actually it's 100 feet.
Which matches with the area north.
With the PUD allows you to vary those lot sizes and widths to make it more affordable, and that's the reason why it's on that way. They could have came with this exact same proposal initially,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't really change, I don't think, as long as there's sewer, water, and everything else worked out, I don't think it would change the staff review or.
And it's going
recommendations at that
from
time.
70 feet. At one point, there's gonna be a transition to 65 feet.
Yeah, from where the white
Yep.
area is the existing, all the gray is the new product, that'll be 65.
So it'll be about 15 feet down to 10 feet between each house.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
So just, yeah, that, we think there'll be 15 feet between the houses we build.
yeah.
And you said 20, so yeah, 20 feet between houses to 15 feet. Sorry, I was slow on my math.
That was on the old section.
The old site was 20,
Yeah.
the new one will be 15.
15, so it's 5 feet.
Between buildings.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's 5 feet from the house to the lot line.
That's what's approved, but we will end up really at 7.5, because our buildings are 50 feet wide on a 65-foot wide lot.
Because I'm concerned, because, you know, you say that most people won't notice it. I disagree with that. I'll notice it. You know, I drive down that road quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it already seems like the ones on the north end of, is it Euclid, are already pretty close. The reason for wanting to put in more houses is,
So the best way I would describe it is the cost to put in the roads is the same whether there's 51 houses or 60. There's a slight difference, don't get me wrong, you know, services are a little bit, but the reality is road, sewer, water, storm, that's essentially kind of, this is the cost to build the roads. And we just saw some efficiencies on where the wetlands are and things if we went to 65, we could get more units on the same amount of road. And so the cost of the lot is able to on the averages to go down.
I know that it sounds like, you know, people want to move into those houses, but aren't those the same people that want to live in the city? I mean, we're 20 miles out from the outer ring of St. Paul. That's kind of a far drive to live in a house that has no yard.
I get, on my signage, I must get 20 phone calls a week for people that want to move into this project.
From the start of the first project till the last
Oh, I
house
mean,
was
still,
sold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, and the problem is we went to the other side and did the villa side of this project.
Right.
Because that still can work with the existing sewer system.
Yeah.
That's why we ended it at 19 on that side, because we had to put in a lift station,
Yeah, how long did it take to sell all those lots?
1 season.
Was one season? It seemed like it was longer.
Yeah.
I think the
It just seems
second
like it,
house
I
on
think,
the
'cause there's just a lot of
east
stuff
side.
sitting there.
I think the
There's
second
one
house on the
lot.
east side took a while.
Yeah, there's one lot that's still there that they haven't built on, but that's.
So it did take longer than, yeah.
Yeah.
The old city Wyoming lots, they're all 50 feet wide. So if you were to go across the street right here, that lot's 50 feet wide, that lot's 50 feet wide, that lot's.
Got it,
50 feet
okay.
So ours will be 15 feet wider than what theirs does.
That's a great point. That's it.
All right, thank you so much. We're gonna allow Mrs. Delvo to come up.
My husband Robert and I sent an email.
Can you state name and address, please?
25410 Kettle River Boulevard.
Thank you.
We're at the bottom spot. This,
We're gonna be the recipient of traffic there.
you know, Kettle River is a crazy road right now as it is. I mean, I cycle down that road just to get to the bike trail up here. and it's a scary, dangerous place. And now you're gonna be putting, if you take 2 cars per house, you're putting 120 more cars on the road. We're right in a fishbowl, so any water runoff is gonna flow right down to us because we're gonna be below where they're gonna build up the dirt. And you say you have all these runoff things there, so what if we get a major 24-hour rain event in April when the ground is still frozen? Where's that gonna lead?
We're the bottom of the bowl, right next to them.
Okay, if you can address us, please,
Well-
appreciate that. They can address that, but
Okay,
ask your
I
questions.
just don't know what you're thinking on letting in a housing area like that. Those teeny tiny little lots, the traffic, the noise, the road chemicals that are gonna flow on our property. You know, we don't, that road's a raceway now.
Okay,
When
What you
the-
gonna do with more cars?
okay,
What do
so
you
noted.
expect to do with all the runoff water? Where's
Okay.
that gonna go?
We just
You
wanna.
say it's gonna be on site.
Okay,
I don't think it's gonna be on site, but it's coming to us.
okay,
We're the whole part of it,
yeah, okay,
you know.
all right, thank you.
Plus, not only that,
Well, I
you
know
know,
you
when you
jammed
go-
it through, so we're.
when you-
We haven't jammed anything
when you
through.
go down there and
You did.
Okay, well,
to make it more look like a.
yeah,
mobile
it was
home
2020, yeah. Yeah, okay, thank you, appreciate it. Can anybody address the whole, they're in the bowl part? Is there, okay, I got it, thank you. Oh, okay, we got it, thank you.
I'm looking at the contour map of the city. The wetlands that are about at elevation of 900. The Delos have looks like a little pond area that might be at that 900 elevation. The rest of their property is about 900 feet. Mr. Erickson can address those.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I have provided an email to the applicants, and I think the questions they're asking are normal, right? If you're adjacent to development, it's okay to have questions, and I'm happy to assist and go through those, and I certainly would be happy to meet with you. I've provided written correspondence on what we've done in part of our review, and again, this evening is just specifically addressing the CUP and the lot width. They will be back to address the preliminary plat for the project, the changes that we're talking about with the lot widths. But in the meantime, I'd be happy to meet with you here at City Hall. I can bring plans and show you the elevations, the locations, the grading, the ponds. I've offered that before, and if you're inclined to take me up on it, I'd be happy to go through all that, and hopefully I'm able to reassure you on those things. But we are holding the developer to certain standards that are required of us, and that's to pre-development conditions for the rate of runoff for the 2, 10, and 100-year rainfall events. I know I included that in my email, but I can certainly go through a little bit more in depth to go through those types of things, both with volume and water quality and rate control, and so we can go. I'd be happy to do that as well. If you'd like to do that, I'd be happy to do that. I'm sorry, what was that? Okay. I'd be happy to.
Mr. Dowell, please allow him to speak.
I'd be happy to meet with you, and I can, I have your email, and I can email and send you some dates that work for you folks, and I'd be happy to meet on site with you.
And you have their number, or Mr. Linwood does, or
Yeah,
whatever that
we do have their contact information.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Mr. Russell, does that answer the question about the turnaround or the why that's being done?
Yeah, I don't like it. Years ago, I'm not sure, it must have been, might have been with Mr. Ware, received a comment that if they push that road through, it would be paved at the builder's expense.
Okay,
Now it's gonna be dirt.
okay,
I'm already chasing four-wheelers out of there off my corner. There's side-by-sides doing donuts on the intersection because everybody's coming to the dirt.
I think initially, when I spoke with Mr. Russell, it was about if that was the only access into the development, and if
Yeah.
that would have been paved. This is kind of going back around, and like the developer spoke, they probably won't be using that dirt road to become viable, they'll put this paved road.
okay. And Mr. Russell, I will recommend that if you do have people out there doing that, please contact Chief Bauer, because that's the only way we can stop that.
It was nice to the kids in the four-wheeler and talk
Yeah.
to them directly.
Yeah.
But if you're not out there all the time, you don't see the guy, you see the tracks and.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Oswald's yard, when somebody's spinning around.
Yeah, if you even just make a phone call, though, that it's out there, so it's on record, will be a huge help. Am I correct on that, Chief Bauer?
Yes, calling when it's occurring is always better, then we can actually, okay.
See the tracks, you're not there all the time.
Just saying, it's better to always call when it's happening rather than after the fact. Thank you.
Mr. Dello, one more comment, we need to move on. Can you come up to the podium, please?
There's a microphone there, sorry.
I just want to think for a minute.
Sorry about that.
Okay,
There's a microphone.
we do need to move things along. Okay, and then we'll make sure we address that later on. Mr. Linwood, Mr. Erickson,
We can certainly,
okay.
Why don't you blacktop that road up? What is it, 250?
the existing portion.
Blacktop that so they can enjoy some of the traffic that we're gonna have
Okay, thank you.
to appreciate.
Yep. All right, we need a motion to approve 250883, a resolution amending the conditional, this is only for the conditional use permit for the planned unit development Summerfield's 4th edition. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by member Schilling, do we have a second?
Second.
A second by member Luger, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
So approved. Number 23, to consider resolution 250884, a resolution approving a conditional use permit for a 140-foot manopole telecommunication tower C25005, location 5920 250th Street, application Excel Energy, property ID 21.10564.00. Mr. Linwood.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of council, this is in regards to, as you just stated, the Excel Energy LTE monopole tower. This is a conditional use permit and setback and height variance. You can see that the current overview, the applicant Excel Energy is requesting a conditional use permit for an addition of a 140-foot LTE monopole. It is at the existing site there. You can see on 250th Street and Highway 61. That is an electrical substation already on site. So Excel is deploying advanced grid technology across Minnesota in regards to these monopoles, and the point of that enhances cybersecurity, allows Excel Energy assets, meters, substations to intercommunicate, and moves from a public to a private network in that capacity. Sorry about that. You can kind of see the coverage map in regards to that with the height and what they're accomplishing with that existing monopole if it were to be approved. Overview, there's two variances that are required for the proposed monopole in the R1 district. The height variance for 140 feet tower in a residential district, which currently 75 foot is permitted, and then a setback variance for the monopole from property lines. The site characteristics you can see there pointing, it's 8 acres, it's one parcel, intersects again at 250th and Highway 61, and then the driveway access is off 250th Street. It's currently zoned R1 residential, but lot will be rezoned R3 single family residential in the future. The comp plan guides that land for industrial in the future. The proposed monopole, it's a 140-foot monopole in the southwest corner of the parcel. It's inside of the fence, 5.5 feet in diameter, 135 foot center line height, and then 140 foot with antenna. Accessory cabinet, security camera system, monopole property line setbacks will be 325 feet to the north, 366 to the east, 78 to the south, 60 feet to the southwest, and the nearest residence to the monopole in any direction would be 50 feet. The staff recommendation on this would be to approval of the conditional use permit, height variance, and setback variance with 6 conditions. New building materials complement existing substation materials, and the applicant must obtain a building permit for monopole and equipment. And then construction would only be allowed during the working hours of 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and a maximum of 5 employees on site to minimize traffic disruptions. With that, we can stand for, oh, excuse me, we'll keep going. For the CUP portion, approval of conditions so that the on-site vegetation shall remain or be replaced. Proposed monopole, accessory cabinet, and security camera system shall be built consistent with submitted plan sets. Wyoming substation electrical layout NH 54780 and Wyoming substation general arrangement NH 54872.GGN. The monopole cannot exceed the 140 feet tall. And then property must comply with local, state, federal regulations, including all relevant zoning ordinance requirements. You can see that right now in section 4778, for variances in a residential zoning districts other than the designated residential property, height of tower can't exceed 1 foot, height for every 1/4 feet of setback from property line with a maximum height of 75 feet. So the proposed location would only allow would only allow for a 15-foot tall monopole with a 60-foot setback from southwest property line. Variance requirements and staff findings, there were 7 findings of fact. The request does not impair an adequate supply of light or air to adjacent properties, unreasonably increase the congestion in the public right-of-way, increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety, unreasonably diminish or impair established property values within the neighborhood, cause an unreasonable strain upon existing municipal facilities and services, be contrary in any way to the spirit and intent of this ordinance, have a negative direct or indirect physical impact upon the city or school district unless the proposed use is determined to be in a public interest. Also meets the 8 criteria for granting the variance. Recommendation next steps would be approval. This was approved by the Planning Commission at their August 12th meeting. So this would be a recommendation for approval for this 140-foot monopole, 5920 250 streets, and the setback variance to accommodate the monopole. With that, we can stand for any questions regarding this item.
I'm actually going to start with this one. So I was at obviously the liaison at the Planning Commission. I know it says cannot exceed 140 feet. However, it was brought up that there is going to be a 2-foot lightning rod on there. So that then makes it 142 feet if my math is correct. So therefore it already exceeds it, right? The other thing I'm concerned about is, and I asked Mr. Linwood actually to look into what other cities are doing. If you imagine a 140-foot tall post, I mean, that is super tall. There's just a lot to that. It's super tall, it's ugly, you're gonna see it, but I don't like the fact that it's 140 foot. I'd like to know if we can make it shorter. I'm not opposed to having that, but I do think that I would like Xcel Energy to actually give us some different options, seeing that it already is over the 140 foot tall. So that's what I'm saying with that. Otherwise, questions will open up, and we will start with Member Onstad.
There are other poles or other antenna placements in the city?
There are.
Do we know, like, Mayor
The
Anthony?
ordinance requires co-location. When I spoke to the applicant about that, because of some of the homeland security, some of those other issues with their facility, they did not want to co-locate on a different location. They wanted everything on that site. As far as the height of it, I also asked about that, and I think that had to do with their range of signals that they're sending and how that works out. I think they provided a radio telemetry.
It kind of covers the whole northeast metro.
Yeah.
But I was curious about other antennas that are in the town. How tall are those? I'm just curious to get an idea of the size.
Sure.
Including the water towers.
I think the water tower was 145 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was, so the new water tower is 145 feet. That would give you a good idea of how tall that would be. If you remember when we repainted the existing one on 260th, there were some temporary poles that were put up to attach the antennas there. I think those were about 120 feet, if I remember correctly.
So that, yeah, just to get an idea of how
Yeah.
tall it was.
Yeah.
Is there any houses, I'm concerned that, I remember when the tower fell in Shoreview. Didn't fall on anybody's house.
Right.
My
Right.
thoughts are, could this fall and hit anybody's house?
The closest house was 550 feet away.
Okay.
So if it were to tip, it
No, I
would
think-
not be, right, it wouldn't be an issue of it potentially falling on an actual residence.
The closest would be probably just on the road.
Yeah, yeah,
Potential for.
yeah, it would hit, it would probably cross the road if it fell that direction. I'm not sure about 61, but.
Okay.
Well, if it fell towards 61, I think it would hit their whole electrical system, so I
We
don't know
lose a lot
how
of
far it
power
would
in the
go.
area.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Member Schilling?
He just asked all of my questions.
Yay.
All right. Member
How
Yeager?
far to the property, how tall is our water tower, all of those.
Okay. Member Yeager?
How tall are the telephone poles and any existing poles near that property?
That I wouldn't know, maybe 40, 50 feet for existing telephone pole, that's my best guess.
Okay. And if I recall, when we did the radio tower at Maranatha, we're discussing ways of making the tower so that it is unobtrusive.
Yes, putting it in the trees or looking at the tree line for
Trees,
that.
I think it was color of the pole
Yeah, that was part of it also.
to kind of blend in with the surroundings.
Yes.
So that it's not sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yep.
Is the applicant doing anything like that to his
I
pole?
think that was one of the conditions to have it compatible with what's there.
Can you go back to the conditions?
Yeah, say that was listed, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah, in regards to the,
Shall be
so
Well,
it'd be.
complement existing, but it doesn't
Substation.
say anything about minimizing visual impact on the pole. And if I remember, other poles were being painted,
Yeah, I
like,
don't-
so kind of like a cloud
Yeah.
color, just so you,
The ones I've seen, they've done like a sky blue, a gray, some other ones, but every time the color of the sky changes, the pole doesn't change with it, so it's kind of, it's a good idea, but I don't know how well it works.
well, does it work at Maranatha?
It's hidden by the trees,
Okay,
and I have not received any complaints about that since.
okay, since we put it in.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing is your conditions include pole height not exceeding 140 feet, and as the mayor points out, you have a 2-foot antenna. Do we need to change the conditions, or do we need to change the height of the pole?
Are they here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, come on up. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is George Wojcicki. I represent XL Energy Siting and Land Rights Department. If you need an address, it's 414 Nicollet Mall, Minneapolis, 55410. So yeah, regarding the 2-foot little lightning rod, I was just in discussion with the project manager just behind me. He has confirmed with me that that little lightning rod has been taken off. That will not be a part of the finalized design when we do, or, you know, if we are allowed to apply for building permits. So that condition will be met, absolutely. Sorry, there are a number of questions. I want to make sure me and the team are able to
Yeah,
field
color
them all.
of it, I mean, how does it blend in?
Yeah, sure. So it does resemble the existing infrastructure that is currently within the substation. It's going to be a silver galvanized steel, as well as, you know, resemble some of the other infrastructure outside of the substation, namely the transmission poles that bring power into the substation. And then for reference, those poles along Highway 61 are about 100 feet tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, those are the distribution lines that are outside there, right, or are they transmission? Because I know they're 100 and
Yeah, the real tall ones, those are transmission, and then some of those shorter ones, those would be distribution and.
These ones right here.
Yep, yep, those are the ones.
Those are 100.
So you don't have to have the lightning rod on it? Is that what you're saying, or you're shrinking the pole down?
No, the lightning rod will not be included.
So you don't need
Yeah.
a lightning rod? It was just something you were gonna throw on to begin with? I'm just kinda curious why you have it and now you don't.
Come on up, Joe.
Yeah, come on up.
He can answer better than I
Yeah.
can for that one.
I'm confused a little bit because, you know, it was,
Joe
That's
Zanatti,
right.
I'm
that's
the
one
project manager, XL Energy, same address.
Yeah.
414. So the lightning rod was a part of the initial design,
Yeah.
but we went back to after we heard some of the comments, we went back to engineering and said, do we need to have it there? Obviously 140 feet tall, it is a lightning rod, so we do not need to have it. It was something that we incorporated, excuse me, before, but we're just removing it.
we do not need to have it.
Okay.
That pole has actually got 3 points of contact on the base for any lightning. We've got a grid inside that substation, so anything that hits on the pole goes immediately to the grid and dissipates.
Okay, so if you're willing to take off that 2-foot pole, would you be willing to bring that 140 foot tower down to maybe 130?
So the 140 feet is so we can achieve the 135-foot center line for the antennas. Our propagation map, which was shown, it was that kind of a pinkish, reddish color. At 135 feet, we are able to reach all of our fixed assets at that maximum height. So that's why we chose that. So that is very similar to everything else that we do across the metro area is about 140.
Well, I do know you have some other poles that are different heights than that. You have some that are really higher, and you have some that are lower,
Not for this
correct?
program. This program itself, we're at 140 feet. That's our architect has designed it.
Okay, and do you plan on putting any more of these poles in the city of Wyoming?
Nope.
This is it?
To get for that height, yeah, that gives us our maximum coverage so that we can cover everything.
Okay. Now that we brought them all up, questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a couple questions. And just, I'm gonna lead with that
Yeah.
substation is not like Smithsonian quality beauty, I would argue, to start
True.
with.
Put
But
some
I'm
art
just,
on there.
I guess my question is more about the coverage, and I just wonder where's the next closest one of these?
Sure. So as we start to move into the metro, we've got other monopoles that we're locating up in Maple Grove, Coon Rapids, and then as you start to move south, we've got some in St. Paul and Minneapolis as well. Covering the rest of the metro, we have some in the southwest down in Chaska and Rosemount as well. So and also Monticello up in the northwest. I know that's getting a little far out there, but just kind of trying to give you the scope there.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have another question. If you were to reduce the pole to 135 feet, let's say, how much coverage do you lose?
So you'd start to see significant loss on the outer ridges, so it would shrink down. So we would, a lot of that-
The pink area would
Correct.
would
So some
shrink.
of the outlying areas that you even see where we got little shades of pink, so a lot of that would just go away.
And so to get those little areas of pink, you would need to put in more poles someplace else to
Correct.
pick up those,
Correct.
instead of just covering it all with one tall pole.
Correct. That's what we call going back to the drawing board, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Onstead?
Just kind of a nerdy question. The pole, it's not an 8-foot width that's on a 132-foot antenna. It's an antenna that has, I'm guessing, low frequency. It's a tall transmitting pole. It's the antenna itself, the element is fairly long.
Yeah, the antenna itself is only about 6 feet
Okay.
in height.
So it
Weighs
is,
about
it is,
75 pounds.
okay, so
Yeah.
it is like a 6-foot pole on a 134-foot
Yeah,
tower.
the antenna is, the construction of it is plastic around the outside, a plastic shell. The mechanical mechanism is on the inside that reflects.
I know a little bit about antennas, and I was
Yeah.
wondering if it was just a really long, low wave, say AM or longer wave antenna, but no, it is a shorter wave.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions? Otherwise, you can sit down. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, if there are no other questions, we need a motion to consider Resolution 250884, a resolution approving a conditional use permit for 140-foot manopole telecommunication tower C 25005. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Member Luger. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. All right, we'll move on to number 24, to consider Resolution 250885, a resolution approving a variance from City Code Section 47782 to allow a 140-foot monopole telecommunication power tower. I'll rest. Any further questions after we've already gone through this? No? All right, then we need a motion to approve Resolution 250885. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Number 25, to consider resolution 250886, a resolution denying an interim conditional use permit to allow outdoor cannabis cultivation at 7745 Wyoming Trail. Applicant Tyler Zazarzak. Did I say that right?
Yes, he is not here, but representative from his company is.
Okay, so property ID 2100358.00. Who is doing this one?
I will be starting.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is in regards to the interim conditional use permit for a cannabis micro business. The overview, there's a request for an interim conditional use permit for a cannabis micro business, cannabis cultivator. And our cannabis ordinance adopted back on 11/20/24 requires for, I lost my train of thought.
It's been a long.
It has been a long meeting.
It has.
A conditional use permit for that cannabis, maybe Mr. Weck, you should go back to doing this. Cannabis cultivator in our ag district and in our industrial district. And then we can also have a cannabis micro business in the ag district for that CUP. The property is currently zoned R1, rural residential. The proposed use is not permitted by the that CUP. Property was zoned agricultural and rezoned R1. The property was being operated as a hobby farm at the time of rezoning. Site characteristics, it is a 5-acre site. It is south of Wyoming Trail. It was the rezoning to R1 hobby farm and a legal non-conforming use currently. You can't expand legal non-conforming agriculture operations, but a change to a different use other than those permitted in the applicable district. The CUP recommendation denial based on the following findings of fact: new construction subject to review and approval. The property is zoned R1 rural residential, and cannabis cultivator and cannabis microbusiness are not permitted. Conditional or interim uses in the R1 zoning district. The introduction of the cannabis cultivator or cannabis microbusiness's use is not an expansion of the existing legal non-conforming agricultural use on site. It is rather a change to a different use than what is currently occurring on the property. This is the introduction of a new use not allowed by the ordinance. And with that, we can stand for any questions that the city council may have.
Okay. All right. Starting questions from council. I think, Mr. Onstad, have you started yet tonight?
Yes, last one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Member Luger, do you need a break?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I just swallowed down the wrong hole,
Okay.
sorry.
All right. Member Luger.
Okay. I guess my first question is, and I'm not the planning commission liaison, so forgive me if this is really, really super basic. Currently, the owner, it was a hobby farm, but they're currently farming hay, is that correct?
They have flowers and, but they do have, if you notice in the spring, there's a Wasica.
Yeah.
That's the same place. So
Okay.
where they're doing the plants and some flowers and some,
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
So here's where I'm going with this, and I know the cannabis we are all on this new adventure of figuring it all out. It seems to me that, I guess I'm not understanding why this is, why this wouldn't be, or why this would be not the non-conforming condition. Like, why would this be different than, say, if they were wanting to grow a different, like, corn, right? Like, I understand the cannabis part. I guess when I'm looking at it back to, like, agriculture and what is, like, growing plants. Help me out.
So, I'm sure Mr. Luna will come in, but I just kind of had an idea too. So the corn, you could not grow cannabis anywhere in the city before we adopted the ordinance.
Okay.
So there's kind of that. So if you had, say, a farm that had cows, right now we don't allow tigers. So if we had it's an animal, but it's not an animal we allow. It's cannabis,
Okay.
it's a plant that we don't allow.
Just please be respectful while we're talking, please.
Okay. Yep, okay. So point taken. But if we know, so assuming that we had if we did have an ordinance, then would that meet the criteria for it?
But the problem is it's actually still illegal under federal law. So that's kind of part of the problem is it was never allowed to be grown anywhere in the city at any time until the state allowed it.
Right.
So maybe I can provide some clarity.
And you're exactly right. Cannabis, this is a new animal, and the request here.
Not a timer.
The request here being basically a legal non-conforming. At the time the property was zoned from ag back to residential, they were operating this hobby farm, they were growing crops, and they continue to be allowed to do that under the legal non-conforming statute, under the city's legal non-conforming. The issue here, and I mean, really it is a determination, planning committee, we've looked at it from a legal sense, provided analysis, and certainly we'll talk about that and can answer questions about that. Planning Commission did their review, and now council does their review. Really is the question about the concept of what is or is not a crop. And as Mr. Weck indicated, at the time that this property was a legal conforming use, at the time that it was ag, you couldn't grow cannabis, it was illegal. You can now grow cannabis in Minnesota, but the statute gives city governments authority to regulate that through zoning. And the city has adopted its zoning maps and established where cannabis cultivation is permitted. It's not permitted in a residential district. So at the time that their property transitioned from an ag property to a residential, they could continue to do everything that they could do at the time of the zoning change. They could not grow cannabis at the time of the zoning change. Where the issue does have a bit of gray, and there's no case law on this, it's an interpretation of how the statutes are written by our legislature, is that cannabis under Minnesota statutes technically wouldn't be defined as a crop. And so it's its own regulated, it's regulated under its own chapter 342. And so it's a different regulated entity, a different regulated commodity. And so in looking at this and saying, well, the legal nonconforming, that is certainly legal nonconforming, can continue to operate, the addition into that legal nonconforming, into that right to grow crops, does not allow for an expansion to grow cannabis because it wasn't permitted at the time that the property went from conforming to non-conforming, and it isn't technically considered a crop as regulated under Minnesota statute. And so that's why in looking at this and conducting our own legal analysis, the determination was the statute as drafted in interpretation with the city's zoning code does not require the city to say that this is a continuation of a legal non-conforming. Again, the laws are brand new. We can't look to any sort of cases. All we can do is interpret it as the best we can, and that's the analysis. Planning Commission has made their recommendation. Council now has an opportunity to weigh in and make a determination on their opinion. I'm happy to answer what legal questions I can and discuss it, but ultimately that's the basis for the legal analysis that was provided, is those considerations. The fact that it was illegal at the time that they transitioned to residential, and the fact that a cannabis plant is not technically a crop or regulated like a crop would be within the state statutes. It's separated under its own statute.
Okay, I appreciate that, and that delineation makes sense to me. Under what circumstances, if hypothetically the city had an ordinance, under what I mean, would that be what the ordinance then determines? Like, could they grow it if they were zoned ag?
If there was zone ag, yes, with the interim conditional use permit.
Even though it's not considered a crop?
Because our zoning ordinance allowed it to
Okay.
be, and we determined that the ag district was a place to do that, and also the industrial district. So normally we don't see too much agricultural use in the industrial district, but in this case, they'd be growing inside.
Okay.
And all that. So we looked at places where it would work.
So, and just to elaborate on that more regarding the analysis with this property is, the city has adopted an updated zoning code in conjunction with the power that's granted under chapter 342, again, the cannabis chapter. And we have established the zoning district. The city has adopted the zoning districts where cannabis cultivation is permitted. And it is now permitted in an ag district. This is a residential district. If a district that's currently ag right now were to be rezoned residential, and if they were conducting ag business, then theoretically that non-conforming use, if they were growing cannabis, we switched to residential, they could continue those operations because they would have had that legal non-conforming status. At the time this became legal non-conforming, status wasn't there. It doesn't extend or expand because the laws, the zoning law has subsequently changed because they were not permitted to do it within the district.
Okay. All right, that's all I've got.
All right, Member Yeager?
So, even if somewhere down the line, we decide that cannabis cultivation is a crop, just, you know, like corn or soybeans, by our zoning ordinance, we would not be, the cannabis micro business would not be permitted. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Okay. Let's say we changed a little bit and started considering cannabis a
That-
crop, right?
But I think the
But
state
the
would, but the state would have to do that.
All right, fine. But the micro business would not be permitted anyway.
It would be permitted in the districts as allowed in. I'd have to look at
Right,
the
it
ordinance.
would not be permitted in the residential
No,
district or
no.
where the subject property is.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
You know, even if somebody decided cannabis was a crop.
I see what you're saying.
Right, you got it?
Yeah, yeah.
You still couldn't have the you couldn't do the micro business side of it anyway.
Right.
Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? Maybe?
Yeah, I was like.
Did you have any other questions?
No,
Well, the
but-
cannabis microbusiness covers a lot of different, you know, selling and the packaging and all that kind of stuff. The cultivation is just the growing of it.
Right.
So what Councilmember Yeager's getting at is ignoring the cultivation part of it. If they just applied for the micro business license, would they be able to do that in the residential district? And they would not be able to do that. So just taking out the cultivation part of it, the other part of their application is the micro business. Well, the micro business wouldn't be allowed in the residential district either. So it's a little bit more than just cultivation. It's
Right.
just more.
It's the other part of the business.
Okay.
Yep.
Member Schilling?
Okay, a couple of questions, and I believe this will be for you, Mr. Luda. Okay, what are we looking at a quantity? What does state law say that an individual can grow without a license?
An adult over 21 can grow up to 8 mature plants.
Okay, so this would require a state license to grow, or no? Yes, okay. So a license can be granted to it. That was my two questions on that. And in the circle around, when you were saying this, so if they were ag, it would be fine now, but it was ag, it went to R1. And if it was an ag and growing, and then moved to an R1, it could stay as a legal non-conforming, and they could continue to grow.
Yeah, the way that the legal non-conforming statute and the way that the city code is drafted is that any use that you were permitted at the time, that you were permitted and doing at the time, you can continue to do, and in ag, there's a couple of other special circumstances, but yes, that is accurate.
Okay. And then, is this being grown indoors or outdoors?
Outdoor grow.
Okay. So now, are there any provisions from the state that says it has to be secure because it is classified as a drug? So,
Yes.
okay.
6-foot fence.
Okay.
Cameras, could I come up with?
Yeah, please, if you, because these are my questions, so. So, yeah, I was curious, obviously, we've answered the quantity.
Yep, yep.
So you're required to have the license, you have that license.
Yes, I do.
My next concern was, is per that license, are they, saying, what do you have to surround it with?
6-foot chain link with
Yep.
slot panels so they
Yep.
can't see through it.
Yep.
Cameras every 30 yards.
Okay.
Closed circuit.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
we have, let's go back to the zoning of the property. We had a zone back in
Yep.
92. We never heard anything different that zoning ever changed.
Right.
And when I talked to Fred, we still can have animals on there, we can have large animals on there, we can continue our greenhouse, we continue growing agricultural crops in the backfield where this is gonna take place.
Yep.
Since we moved in early 90s, it's been a pumpkin patch, it's been a cornfield, it's been a hay field, it's a hay field right now. We are only looking to grow 1/2 an acre in them. We did talk to the neighbors on both sides.
Yep.
They're in pose of it. We did talk to the police department, and they are okay with that. Well,
Yeah, go ahead,
we
Chief
gotta
Bauer.
have
Can I-
discussions, but,
Clarify.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a characterization. My role in this, my concern is the security
Yeah.
of the facility, and he addressed those concerns. This is not my monkey.
Yeah, no, and those were the questions that I had, so I'm kind of glad everything is kind of pecked away as we've gotten through here.
Can I ask one question before you go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who is the applicant? Because there's a different applicant than you. It's this gentleman. So who's the applicant?
So. Can you answer?
Yeah, so he's out of town right now. He's dealing
Okay.
with another portion of the business, so I was here representing him.
Okay, I'm still confused. I'm still very confused. We have Mr. Warsika up here. Wasika up here, and it's your land, but it's your business? Is that?
It's Tyler's business. He is basically going to be renting the land from me to grow his crop. I am gonna be overseeing, make sure nobody gets in there, I'm gonna be watering it, but they are gonna be doing the planting, the weeding, the harvesting, and the hauling out. That's all it is a grow.
And how do you two know each other?
He approached me.
So you looked for land?
Yep.
And then you contacted him for it? Wait, let him answer, please. Right? Is that my
Correct.
understanding?
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
go ahead. I had to figure out who's who and what's
No,
what.
those were the last of my questions. The other thing was the security cameras, how does that work? Because this isn't corn, I'm not gonna come over and steal your corn, but I may come over and steal your cannabis. You know, cause that actually does something, but the corn.
We eat enough corn.
I don't eat
There's
corn.
good corn.
But anybody.
Yeah,
else-
so those are my questions, so thank you
Cannabis.
very much for answering
Okay,
that, so.
all right. That was all your questions?
That was it, that was all my
Okay.
questions.
Mr. Lunan, I bring this up because anytime something is coming before us and it has a lot of implications down the road, if we were to approve this based on the fact that your finding is that it's not legal in our city based on the ordinance, what does that open us to for some, like, I don't know, somebody else in the audience to come out and say, somebody approached me and now I want to do the same thing?
So, first of all, it is legal in the city. Again, it's
Oh,
legal in
but
the-
not on the zoning that it is, correct?
Correct, but it's important, because it's legal in the appropriately zoned district.
Correct.
So one of the things here is, again, there is a legal non-conforming operation in place. And now we have permitted cannabis cultivation in ag, which this property previously was and is operating as a legal non-conforming. Essentially, the applicant is asking the city to retroactively now allow what are now permitted operations in ag retroactively to his legal non-conforming that was established when it rezoned to R2, R1 when.
It started out as R1, they rezoned it to ag in '92. Looking through research after getting contacted by your office, the city, or the township adopted a new zoning ordinance and a zoning map in 1996. At that time, they changed it to back to residential, looking at the zoning ordinance that the city adopted when the city and the township merged, that has it also zoned as not rural residential now, but the residential one, rural residential one.
And what year was that?
96.
2009.
Okay. So as I often tell you, when you are evaluating land use applications, conditional use permit, variance, that those are not precedential because you look at the facts of the actual situation. Here, to make a determination and say, well, this is legal nonconforming, it can retroactively be applied to legal nonconforming, you potentially are establishing some precedent where other properties, whether it's cannabis or something different, if the zoning changes and someone's operating legal nonconforming, they may want to say, well, I used to be zoned as industrial and I've been operating this little garage here, but now you allow this, so I want to start doing that now, it's legal nonconforming. And that's kind of one of the concerns here. So I think what the applicant is looking to do is really to expand on the legal nonconforming under their CUP And again, it's sort of asking you to retroactively apply what is now permitted. You know, what may be a more appropriate sense in this instance would be potentially a variance through the R1 to see if those standards apply. Yeah, I mean, it would be a determination on the factual basis of this particular property, or, you know, potentially they ask for a rezone of the parcel. But ultimately, if there's a determination to say that what is now permitted as ag is going to retroactively apply to any property that is operating legal non-conforming as ag, then any other business, again, assuming they meet the state standards, could come forward and say, all right, well, I want to do cannabis here now, and do cannabis here now. And I don't know how many that applies to, but theoretically, then the impact of that may extend beyond just cannabis. It may be any zoning changes and any legal non-conforming, if people wish to bring those before the council and say, this is what I'm gonna be doing, because I was allowed to do it when it would have been zoned under that specific district.
All right, any other questions for the applicant?
I do have a question for Mr. Lunan. Why can't this be classified as a home business?
They would have more than one employee showing up.
Okay,
Okay,
just an idea.
okay, you have a question?
Yep.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure your answer to Councilmember Luger, just to see if I'm getting this right. It sounds like the land was grandfathered in for the use as a farm, which at that time did not have cannabis included. Because it was grandfathered in, it would have to stay under what it had been at that time. We can't amend what the grandfathering is. And if we did, it would set a precedence that we could do that anywhere across the city. And you know that I really look for precedents. Would that be accurate to say that?
That is the potential implication in this instance, yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I would just.
Mr. Weck.
I just want to give one example of a legal non-conforming agricultural use, the pumpkin patch. It's zoned R1, same as them. They're doing that, I guess, think of the application if they were looking to grow cannabis instead of pumpkins.
Because they cultivate and do the business.
Yeah, so I did, as one of the other examples of other legal non-conforming.
Got it.
So in other words, if the pumpkin patch wanted to grow cannabis instead of pumpkins, they couldn't do it for the same reasons that we would deny this. Okay.
But I guess my point is, when did that get rezoned? And we were never notified that it was even getting rezoned. It was.
I can't say anything about 1996, and I can just say that.
Well,
But since 1990, when I started in 1998, the map that hung on my wall has always had you as rural residential one.
Yeah, but I got that.
I do.
You know what I'm talking about,
I saw the
1996?
resolution, I read the minutes, I did everything else. I don't know what happened between 92 and 96.
Right, in the minutes, it said ag. It didn't say anything with ag with restrictions. It didn't say anything else. That was like back in 1992. If I said, hang on a minute, I'm gonna ask Siri about this. It didn't exist back in 92.
And it wasn't legal to grow cannabis.
That's correct, but cannabis is legal in Minnesota, and it is an agricultural crop now.
But not in 1992.
I would like to find out when that got rezoned and how it got rezoned,
okay.
because under my understanding, it was still zoned ag, and I do have animals on there. And I do grow crops.
Okay, if we can do this, I think this is, we're too far out what the original purpose is. So appreciate it. We have to go what's before us. We have legal counsel, we have state definition. We have to go what's in front of us, not what happened. None of us were here in 92.
No, I'm just trying to figure out when this got rezoned.
Yeah, and we don't know, right? I don't know how to get you that answer,
Yeah,
honestly.
I can say when the city adopted the zoning map and zoning ordinance in 2009.
Yeah.
It was rezoned that, for sure.
Okay. There we go. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. As usual, the state of Minnesota leaves us without clear anything. All right, so to consider a resolution 250886, a resolution denying an interim conditional use permit to allow outdoor cannabis cultivation at 7745 Wyoming Trail. We need a motion to deny. I will make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So it is denied. Okay. Now, if it should change again, please, by all means, come on back. So,
this is the end of the road for us, except for, or do we go to another meeting?
nope, this is it.
This is it?
Yep. All right, thank you.
Can the applicant apply for variance at all?
There's a, and that's where I kind of, you can't grant a variance for a use.
Okay.
So I think that's part of the issue. Maybe we could look at some, you know, that's where I kind of defer that, generally speaking, you can't give a variance for saying, building a hospital or residential. So that's a different kind of use than would be allowed. So I think that's.
Can I ask one question? I'm her neighbor. I just have one question. Like, so I have agriculture. If I wanted to grow it on my land and I am agricultural,
Are you directly next door? You touch his property?
yes,
Then
next door.
you're not zoned agricultural.
So, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I can
So,
pull it out.
they're
What's your
here.
address?
7865 Wyoming Trail. I have 5
They're right
acres
there.
around my house, and then I have 23 acres around it. My aunt is, Val Winter, she does the Lent Pumpkin Patch, we grow on that property.
While he looks up the zoning map, I mean, just to anticipate your question, depending on what it is. The cannabis ordinance that was adopted permits it in ag. So if you have an ag district and you meet the state requirements, the city's
It could
zoning map.
possibly be okay.
Correct.
Okay. That was just my question.
It'll take me a second. I don't have that part of it.
I just.
Well, we gotta, is that a, no, that's the new one.
But it wouldn't even be easier, because I know it's a whole new thing and everything, you know, the whole marijuana thing. But I was just wondering if that would be a easier step. You know, if, say I was gonna do it. I'm not, but.
What was the address? I'm sorry.
7865 Wyoming Trail.
Oh, you are zoned ag.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That one's
then
ag.
you could do it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, are we good?
Is there a way I can find out when this was rezoned and how?
I believe
Publicized
Mr.
to me?
Yeah, I believe Mr. Weck has done that already, have you not?
Well, I provided it to the city attorney, so I can send you that information.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, or could we talk about it right now?
No.
Well, we still have the
We're
meeting going.
still meeting, yeah.
I thought this was part of the meeting.
We're done, we already denied it.
If we knew that this was not zone ag, why did you take $1,200 from public hearing?
I'm not gonna go into that right now, because there was a lot more that's not being spoken about right now.
Yeah.
And how this started, so.
Okay.
just leave it
Maybe
at
we
that.
should.
Okay, I need you to now, we're done, we've answered your questions. You can come back later and have a conversation with Mr. Linwood, Mr. Lunan, or Mr. Weck. I would say all three at that point in time, but we need to move on now.
How would I
It's been
schedule
answered.
a meeting for that?
What's that?
How would I schedule that meeting?
Call us in the morning.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, thank you. Okay. Number 26, to consider an automatic license plate reader ALPR policy of the city of Wyoming. Chief Bauer. That would be you.
That's me.
Okay,
All right.
you're
I'm gonna
on.
read through as you know, we had numerous discussions about this already. One of the agreements with council was to provide the policy to council for approval. Generally, our policies are not approved by council. However, this one was requested that we go through that process. The other one that was approved by council is the body-worn camera policy as required by statute. The policy was provided to council several months ago with some revisions as of last week. I'll just do a brief summary of kind of the content of that policy. We're looking for adoption of the ALPR policy to guide responsible use of the ALPR system. Purpose is it captures license plate data, time, date, and location to support law enforcement activities such as locating stolen vehicles, missing persons, and suspects tied to criminal investigations. The system will not be used for personal reasons, harassment, intimidation, or immigration enforcement. The Chief of Police, me, or designee oversees the ALPR installation, maintenance, and data retention, and the system access. Only trained and authorized officers may operate the system. All alerts must be verified by the officers before any enforcement action is taken. ALPR data unrelated to an active investigation must be deleted within 30 days, with limited exceptions for exculpatory evidence or to address the address confidentiality program participants. Public log is available and maintained, documenting the LPR usage, including the times, number of plates, and the match results. Data will only be accessible through secure password-protected systems with complete audit trails. The BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, will be notified and already has been notified of installations or fixed locations. It cannot be used to track individuals without a warrant or exigent circumstances. All data access is logged. It's subject to biennial, we'll get there. Audits and violations are subject to discipline or prosecution. Data may only be shared with law enforcement or prosecutorial agencies for legitimate investigations and only by written request approved by the Chief of Police. In summary, policy ensures that the ALPR system is used solely for legitimate law enforcement purposes with safeguards for privacy, accountability, and transparency. It aligns with Minnesota state statutes and reflects best practices in protecting community trust while enhancing public safety. The basic outline of the policy and content is established by Lexipol, our policy company that we use, and we don't want to deviate a ton from those policies for numerous reasons I can get into if you'd like to know.
No.
Yep, right. But we did make some modifications per some of the discussions with council previously. So looking for approval or any other questions you may have on this policy.
Okay, we'll start with Member Luker.
No, I have no questions. I appreciate all of the time and effort and diligence that's gone into this, and making sure that this will be an appropriately used tool to enhance community safety. So I got nothing else.
Perfect. Member Onstad.
No questions.
I have no questions. Member Schilling.
I just have one question. Are these the ones that mount on the top of the car, or is it gonna be affixed?
They're fixed.
Okay, I have no questions then. That's it.
Member Yeager.
Never mind.
Are all the cameras installed?
2 of the 4 are installed.
Okay, so we still have 2 more to go. When will these cameras be turned on?
Once the policy is approved, and then our officers are trained in the use, and we have not started that process.
So timeline?
Once they complete it, I would guess within a month, we could get all the officers through the training. It's all
And-
online training.
And will all the cameras be installed then?
We're not sure when those last 2. They're a separate type of breakaway pole that DOT requires, so those are the DOT right-of-ways, and they're on back order for those poles.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the automatic license plate reader ALPR policy for the city of Wyoming. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Luger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 27, consider donation to the Historical Society. Mr. McFarland. I'm reading cues. I saw you bring up that microphone.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, the city has received a request from the Chisago County Historical Society for a donation. Typically, we wouldn't bring an item like this before you because under Minnesota law, municipalities are generally prohibited from donating public funds to private organizations unless the expenditure is both expressly authorized by statute and serves a public purpose. However, in this case, Minnesota statute section 138.053 authorizes a statutory home rule charter city to appropriate money annually from its general fund to the Historical Society of its city, town, or county. To qualify for such a donation, the Historical Society must be affiliated with and approved by the Minnesota Historical Society itself. Minnesota Historical Society maintains a directory of approved local and county historical organizations, and the Chisago County Historical Society is listed on that directory, which confirms that it would meet the statutory requirements for the Minnesota Historical Society affiliation and approval. So we received a letter from Chisago County Historical Society last week asking for a donation from $500 to $1,500. We thought we'd bring it before you. Should be noted that a donation was not budgeted for in 2025. So simply recommending that you consider whether or not you want to donate to the Historical Society.
Okay, thank you. Questions starting with Member Schilling.
No questions, so moved.
Moved. Okay, Member Schilling.
No questions.
Thank you. Member Yeager.
I am open to making the donation. However, I'd like to see it out of another pot of money rather than general fund. For example, when we have a contract with the Lake Center, that comes out of a separate police fund, or when we donate to the initiative fund, that comes out of the EDA. So you can say they promote the city of Wyoming through history and telling our story, which does have some value.
Are you suggesting a pot for it to come out of?
Do we have a pot that we could bring it out of?
You have to ask these guys.
I don't have anything budgeted for 2025. I think it's a little different too for the Lake Center for Youth and Family. That's actually a contractual service that's provided to the city. So
Yeah.
just to be, but it is allowable by statute, as Mr. McFarland stated. We didn't budget anything for this in 2025, but we do have some other funds from time to time that we address, whether it be EDA or we have our capital revolving fund. I think there's a couple. I think it's a matter of what council wants to do, I guess, via your recommendation.
Where would the money come from if it were to be a continuing donation?
We don't have it. It's a unique situation in this, because like I said, most of these were not allowed by statute to do this, but this is unique, so it's kind of uncharted territory, I guess, for us. I guess it could come out of our administration and our operations, or we could make a new light item for donations. Like I said, we just don't have anything, like I said, being the newness of this and kind of the mid-year of it, we haven't any time to really find an appropriate spot for it.
Yeah, it's the contract to Lakes area, that's a yearly thing. The initiative fund is also a yearly thing. So looking ahead, if the Historical Society wishes to make this a yearly thing, rather than a one-off, I was just curious how that would be handled.
I mean, if that was something from council wanted to give us direction, whether it's a one-time donation now or just to put something annually in budget, we could certainly find a place for it if you just wanted to utilize, whether you have a fund that you want to use or you want to levy for it and just put it in our normal operations, an operational budget, we can certainly do that.
Well, I said, I already gave two examples of alternative funds that could be used. Are there park funds that could be used, since they're putting a sign and QR code in Railroad Park?
They are putting some signage, and we're asking, I think, the council, Mr. McFarland, to purchase some signage. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe that was already approved, so it was the $500 for the post, and then the sign will be going to Railroad Park in the future. I guess regarding, if any park.
Oh, I
funds-
thought that sign was totally free for us.
Oh, maybe I'd have to recheck the item.
Yeah, it should be free.
Okay, then if you have, so Mr. Linwood remembers and you, then it likely is free.
Yeah. So those would be my suggestions if council wished to move forward.
Did you go?
Yeah,
I'm
he did.
Totally, this has been so long, I'm like trying to figure out where we're at.
Yeah.
He
I
attempted to make a motion that you didn't accept.
Yeah,
Well, because nobody got a chance to ask their questions yet.
I know, that's.
Well,
I know, that's why you were
that's
doing
why
that.
you didn't accept,
That's why
but
you were
that's,
doing that.
you know.
Okay, all right. Member Luger.
I am 1,000% in favor of this. I think we should aim for the 1,500. I don't think that at this point we are being asked to do this on an ongoing basis, if I'm interpreting this correctly. And so I am totally comfortable with this. I think it's a great partnership. I've seen the Chisago County Historical Societies, like, I was at the Amlan threshing show the other week, and their display was awesome. And I think, yeah, it's a really great partnership and celebrates heritage and all of that stuff. So I'm comfortable with the $1,500 from wherever staff deems it most appropriate.
Member Onstad.
I echo her sentiments.
I'm going to throw a wrench into this just for 1 minute because it's been that kind of night. So what if we were to, it's now almost September, what if we were to table this, take a look at where the funds may come from, and bring it back early next year?
I like that idea.
I mean, I think we need a little bit of, I don't know enough about this. I'm not saying the president is I'm not saying I don't trust him, but I would like a little more information. I would like us to know where this possibly would come out of. I think there's just some unknowns. And we're at the end of the year. If we can somehow bring it back the first part of next year after doing a little bit of where should this come out? If we do decide to do it yearly, what does that look like? Where is it coming out? I'm all about processes and procedures, so that's my suggestion. You can all tell me no.
No, it's all right. I have a question for Mr. Linwood. What's in the current EDA budget left over already this year? I know we've spent some money, so do we know?
I think there's approximately, at this point, what's left, I think there's around $44,000 approximately.
All right, we don't have anything planned for that.
I don't think, well, there's some discussion right now, but I think we'll have some. There's a few items that we still, potentially.
Does this fall
Probably
in
not.
the realm that you can EDA without it being approved by EDA? That's what I don't.
I guess statutorily, I'd have to
That was
check
my
in
other
regards
question,
to.
so thank you.
Yeah.
Statutorily, I'd have to check in regards to EDA. I know that we can as a city from our general fund. I guess I'd want to take a quick look on EDA if you give me a second.
Huh? Yeah.
In all honesty, we've already had discussions. Somebody can either move it or table it. So he doesn't have to keep doing that.
Okay.
We still got more items
Okay.
to go, and there's
I'll-
one of them on here that's gonna need discussion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table it until we can find out where to take the money out of, and table it until 2026, the first part of the year. That's my motion. Do we have a second?
You want a second?
You don't
Kinda
have
came
to.
up-
I'm just saying, there's a first out there. Do we have a second? Anybody
like
can
to?
second it or not. No?
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So it passes to be tabled. That was 3-2. Okay. Mr. Linwood, you have the direction on that then, where we want to
There we
go,
Problem
please?
solved.
We'll probably have a little discussion on this if we're gonna bring it back in January. We'll probably have some discussion on if we want,
Yeah.
where we wanna take it out of our budget yet for 26. So
January
we'll-
or February?
Yeah,
We
we'll
just-
probably talk about it yet this year, so, okay.
Okay.
Noted.
All right, number 28. This is gonna take a while. You are correct. All right, to consider entering into a purchase agreement for the property located at 26263 Forest Boulevard, Wyoming, Minnesota 55092. Mr. Linwood,
I'll be starting with
Okay.
a little background on the request and the property, and then Mr. Lunan will go into some of the legal components of the potential purchase agreement. Just to give the council some background, in 2020, the city began a very methodical, multi-year effort to address our facility needs across all of our city departments. We evaluated this building, including from our administrative component to our fire department to our police department that is shared by Public Works and the Public Works facility. And then we did a needs assessment that was conducted by Wold Architects is part of that. That 2020 study identified significant deficiencies and future demands in all of our operating facilities that the city currently has, and that generally found that city facilities were undersized, they're outdated, and not equipped to meet operational needs or standards of today. Just to go through a little bit, our police department currently operates out of a steel pole barn that's over 50 years old and was not designed for modern law enforcement operations. It lacks adequate space for training, interviews, victim support, victim-centered interview space. There's no 24/7 secure safe room for victims. We have no meeting or training areas to support staff development or any kind of a regional collaboration if we want to work with other departments. It has limited climate control, minimal security for sensitive areas, and insufficient space for specialized equipment, making it increasingly inadequate for the demands of the department and the community. The fire department, built in 1977, the fire station faces multiple operational and safety issues. There's no decontamination area to separate turnout gear from clean spaces. That increases cancer exposure risks to our firefighters. Poor air exchange and climate control affects apparatus bays and turnout gears within this, and office areas. Turnout gear should not be exposed to some of the temperatures and humidity that it currently does. Bays are double stacked, limiting access to response efficiency. There's no dedicated training rooms. Space between vehicles and gear racks is limited. Storage is inadequate. Low ceiling heights prevent in-garage servicing of trucks. No SBA filling area, or the one that is there is excessively noisy, and the shower restroom facilities are insufficient or not ADA compliant. Public Works, the facility has inadequate vehicle storage, forcing equipment to be stored outdoors and exposed to weather. Bays are undersized for modern vehicles, limiting maintenance capabilities. Poor ventilation and heating systems affect employee safety and comfort. There is limited secure storage for tools and materials and no dedicated trading room, meeting or break spaces for staff. And as we talked about at our budget session, they currently work out of a construction trailer and has been since 2021. City Hall and administration spaces are limited for public meeting rooms, staff training, sometimes even community events where we used to utilize that until we had to put temporary offices in it. Reducing available public meeting space and staff space. Storage for records is lacking and accessibility grades are limited. We don't have any kind of ADA compliance within our restrooms, and we don't have a designated public or private side for our staff. Since that completion of that needs assessment, we developed conceptual plans for a public safety and fire building. We secured those cost estimates working with Wold Architects and a construction manager through Kraus Anderson. Initially, those costs were approximately $13 million, and later escalating to nearly $19 million due to inflation and other construction cost increases. We have sought federal funding through congressional directed spending through Senator Klobuchar and Senator Smith's office. We have also sent requests to Congressman Pete Stauber for his backing. We've also included the conclusion for state funding for bonding during 3 separate sessions. Unfortunately, we are unable to secure any kind of funding for those for either not being inclusionary or not actually having the state go forward with a bonding bill. We have engaged our regional partners and stakeholders in the community, and we've tried to build that support and have had letters of support through different partners that we have regionally and within the community. And we have explored alternative approaches to reduce costs while still meeting our operational needs. We have not been able to find that or work through that and receive the money that's necessary for the public safety building that we've looked at on the north end of town. Like I said, where the cost due to just normal construction inflation have just continued to go up, escalating costs to a point where our staff has looked at other opportunities because we didn't think it was financially responsible to continue down that path. In 2025, there was a new opportunity as a property located at 26263 Forest Boulevard became available. Working with our city council, staff began evaluating the site and negotiating a potential purchase. Based on that needs assessment criteria, we worked with our architect, Wold, and the site could be considered for relocation of City Hall and Police Department. The current concept would be to purchase and renovate this property for administrative and police operations, and then, and then the existing city fire hall that we're in right now would be renovated into a dedicated fire station. Public Works facility improvements would remain a future capital project. Next steps that we would ask the council tonight would be to include executing a purchase agreement for the property at 26263 and beginning the due diligence period to conduct feasibility, more in-depth cost and design evaluation. For this property, we would look at the overall funding mechanisms for this, including how the bonding for the projects would work through the structure. And then staff would work with council to come back with those findings, if approved, through the purchase agreement, working with Wold for that schematic design to make sure that the initial cost estimates could actually come into the budget that we have discussed with the council. We are working through those funding strategies to the plan. The city has had our legal counsel work through a purchase agreement in greater detail, and Mr. Lunan can discuss those in regards to the actual purchase agreement that is in place. So with that, I can stand for any questions the council may have on this, but it gives a little background and history to how we got here. And then, like I said, Mr. Lunan, I believe, is able to answer any questions regarding that purchase agreement.
Thank you. Member Yeager, I believe it's your turn to start.
Okay. Will the city will the city lose money if they back out of the purchase after the due diligence period?
So the purchase agreement provides for a 60-day due diligence period, which you can find in section 4B of the transaction. Yes, generally during the due diligence period, the city is provided the right and its absolute and sole discretion to terminate the agreement for any reason if we find the property unsuitable. After the expiration of 60 days, generally the property or the earnest money, what we call it, goes hard, means that now the earnest money is due to the seller.
Okay, you would lose the money after 60 days, earnest money after 60 days, in other words.
It would depend on the reason for the cancellation. There still are ways, depending what the reason is, but if we don't have a material purpose for canceling, then yes.
Okay, and then what happens to the tenants in the building now? Do they have a lease? Will the lease expire?
So, as part of the due diligence period, we are provided all property documents, which will include the leases. Those have to be delivered to us, to me, essentially upon execution. It's just kind of within a reasonable time. But we get to review all those. What I have been told is that the one major lease belonging to the call center has already notified that they are canceling, and I think they are terminating either October or November, and they already have notice of termination. And in addition to that, the eye clinic lease does expire in 2 years, and there's a potential to talk with them about an early cancellation. And I know, as we've discussed and evaluated this property in closed session, there were some discussions that they may have been longer. I did ask the broker about that. She did indicate that there was a transfer in ownership and there was a look at them potentially expanding, but ultimately nothing happened. And so she said the lease is still just has 2 years left on it.
Okay. What is the approximate cost of the entire project?
The estimates that we received, the preliminary estimates in regards to from Wold Architects, with the 3 projects for the city hall, for the police, and for the renovation of this would be approximately $9 million.
Okay. And how does this compare to what the city would have paid if a new building was built with state money?
So if we were asking the state, that we were asking for half from the state.
Yeah.
So depending upon what the year it was and the inflationary cost, that was the ask. Doesn't necessarily mean that we would have received half. So example, for that public safety building, we were estimating this year approximately $19 million. So we would have received approximately half of that from the state. So give or take $9.5 million would have been what we potentially would have received. So the city still would have been on the hook for the one building for the $9.5 million. Because through bonding bill, you have to give at least half. Now,
Yeah.
not to say that the state, sometimes the second year of bonding, when there was a bonding bill and there wasn't, or it looked like there was gonna be a bonding bill, we had asked for half. It sounded like there was a good chance if there would have been a bonding bill, we would have received money, but it probably would have been about 2/3 of our half ask. It wouldn't have been the half. So we don't know for sure, but if we got half, it would have been $9.5 million.
But if
Could
we
have
had
been-
gotten
could have been
2/3.
less. Yeah.
So basically, this project is coming out to be about the same price as if we did.
Correct, where the only difference is you're accomplishing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if we
you're-
had built the building, we'd still be paying about the same price.
Correct, and you're accomplishing essentially the fire and police component and the administrative, so you're accomplishing 3 instead of just the
Instead of
2.
just 2.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a do not exceed cost at which the project then becomes too expensive to continue with?
I think from, that'll be part of the diligence period with the council when we're looking at that and in regards to working with our financial planner and the bond implications on that and the different way we can structure those bonds. I think we've looked at it from a staff standpoint, that the $9 million is kind of in regards to just how we look at and able to continue to do our normal operations and provide services to the city, that's really kind of about the maximum amount that we'd want to go. We'll certainly go through that diligence with the council and allow you to weigh in on that as we get that information from our bond council and what those implications of those bonds would be. We're going to work with Wold Architects, and that if the council were to move forward with this, we'll have representatives from that kind of talking about that schematic design and making sure, they gave us the initial high level, but we would at that point be able to, once we have that during this diligence period, to get that good information from Wold to really say, this looks like it is what we believe it was, that it is a chance to accomplish what we thought we could for that money.
So basically, if I want really firm numbers, we got to have that contract with Walt.
Agreed, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So asking if a do not exceed cost can be set, it's kind of moot.
I think you can look once we get the information back from Wold. I think it'd be challenging at this point, just based on, that's very high level what they did, and I think the schematic design will really bring into what those costs are. I think they're, believe that there is a good chance for that, and they're positive in that, but that's why we move forward with this and kind of the information that the council received from them. But right until we actually go through that process, that's when we'll really know.
Okay. And your memo says it's, Public Works would be in the future, and they're just buying a trailer. How long in the future are we talking?
I think that's challenging. I think there's a couple different things. We look at, for this project, we still potentially, Mr. McFarland and I did submit for bonding through the state of Minnesota for 2026. We would have to change our bonding request a little. There's still some potential that we could receive some money for it, even though the bonding has been challenging. We've talked to the council a little bit about exploring other funding options, but I think it's going to come down to, the duration of a bond for this project is probably going to be somewhere from 15 to 20 years. It's just going to be a matter of what the solution for Public Works is and that cost is and how that fits into our capital improvement projects and what is reasonable to start taking on another project in that time. I think everyone, I don't want to speak for the council, but I think you've all made it, the majority has made this a priority to try to fix some of the deficiencies in these facilities. So we would certainly work with council to try to explore options on that, but I don't know if I really have to say it's 5 years, to say it's 10 years, to say it's 3 years.
We have no idea
It's really
whether it's short-term, long-term.
Challenging at this point, I would say.
Okay. I'm not totally against this. I can see where if the cost of the project is kept in line or under a do not exceed amount, I can see this working. I do have still some lingering concerns, and I'll be quite frankly, I didn't receive the purchase agreement until after 1 o'clock this afternoon. I have not had time to read it, research it, and digest it, so I will be abstaining from making a decision because I mean, I'm not comfortable doing it, making a responsible choice before I read it.
Member Schilling?
I only had one question. Maybe you said it, or I'm just losing my mind, but with this is off the subject, so I guess you could call point of order on me. The Public Works facility, can we still lobby the state for that?
You could,
Okay,
certainly.
that was my question. Otherwise, that's it for this. We've been trying to get this thing done since 2012. And every year it's gone up by $1 million. And it keeps going up, and it's gonna continue to go up, and it continue, anyway. So I'm just gonna leave that right there. This kills 3 projects for $9 million, was what we were gonna spend for the 2. And then I think we still go down that avenue for the Public Works for looking for state money to fund that as well. So.
Mr. Lunan, you've been our counsel for how long? You can spitball it.
Since Rob was made administrator.
Yeah, I
Because
think
that's when he
I think a little
transferred.
bit after that, 7 years maybe.
Okay.
It was really new here my first year and a half.
Okay, and so you've been looking at all our documents the last 7 years. Whenever we've had questions on it, you've drawn up different documents. I believe you drew up this document as well, purchase agreement, or it's?
So this document was prepared by the broker. I reviewed it and redlined it for the city's terms. Frankly, aside from government work, I do commercial real estate. This is not a overly complicated transaction. The complications really come on the back end with working with your architects and such. And again, as we talked in closed session, the big consideration of the city in negotiating and making sure this agreement worked for this project and what the city's trying to accomplish was ensuring that we had a proper amount of due diligence time to allow for the property to be fully evaluated, and had the right to get out of it during that due diligence time to recuperate the earnest money that we have to put down to hold the property. Aside from that, really the terms on this transaction, we're not buying it as a commercial investor, we're buying it as an owner occupant, we're buying it to renovate, that's why we're gonna do the due diligence. It's not a terribly complicated transaction, so the agreement itself is a fairly straightforward commercial real estate purchase agreement.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Mr. Onstad, Member Onstad.
No questions.
Member Luger.
No questions.
All right. I will make the motion to enter into a purchase agreement for the property located at 26263 Forest Boulevard, Wyoming, Minnesota, 55092. Do we have a second?
Second.
Which one of you want to do second and third? Member
It makes no
Onstad is
difference to me.
second. Member Luger is third. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we have one person.
Abstention.
abstaining. Yeah, okay, so passes. Number 29, to consider into an agreement with Wald Architects for architectural services related to 26263 Forest Boulevard property in Wyoming City Hall Fire Department. Mr. Linwood.
Thank you, Mayor Iverson, members of council. Just to give some background on this, the city is now going through a due diligence period with the approved purchase agreement for the property located at 26260 Forest Boulevard. To ensure the city can make an informed decision on this property and regarding the significant investment, it's really essential that we conduct some detailed planning with this. The site analysis, the preliminary design work, and due diligence during that due diligence period. This will require the city to confirm the property and proposed improvements can fully meet operational and community needs. So with that, Wold Architects and Engineers has provided a proposal for schematic design for the phase services for both facilities. So a combined facility of Police Department and City Hall at 26263 Foolish Boulevard, and then here at the Fire Department renovation and expansion of the existing City Hall here at 26885 Forest Boulevard. So the schematic design will really establish project goals and requirements, include meetings with the city once they complete some of that work and the staff, and to really talk about what we're trying to accomplish and if it's accomplishable within that budget. Develop the site plans, floor plans, evaluations, and renderings. Address any zoning or judicial considerations and provide probable construction cost estimates. And then deliver a comprehensive report documenting the decisions and conceptual designs for the council. The Wold Architects is proposing a fixed fee for this phase in an amount of $54,000 plus estimated reimbursables of $2,350 for a total schematic design of approximately $56,350. We do have present with us, I believe online, Mr. Busset, Jonathan. I don't know, would you like to add anything to the proposal and discuss it in a little greater depth than I've given some high level?
No, thanks, Rob. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. You guys have been through a lot here, and we're excited. This is definitely a tremendous opportunity for the city. I think we have the goal in mind, and getting through schematic design will really help us see how close we are, or maybe even better off than the 9 million. But that's really the goal, is to align those efforts with that due diligence period, so that the city has the confidence that they can continue forward into that next design phase. So that's why we're suggesting you just take out this first bite and learn a little bit more about what actually has to be done, and we'll continue to report to council and administration along the way here.
Perfect. Questions from council? We'll start with Member Schilling.
I have no questions.
Member Onstad.
No questions.
Member Luger.
No questions.
Member Yeager.
Oh, my question was answered already.
Okay, all right. And I have none either. I'll make a motion to enter into an agreement with Wald Architects for architectural services related to 262634 Forest Boulevard property in Wyoming City Hall Fire Department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Schilling. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstained? Are you abstained?
No, I want to see his cards. And last I heard in poker, I need to pay to see his cards.
Okay, so are you a yes or no?
Yes.
You're a yes. Okay, thank you. All right, so that carries. Thank you, Jonathan. We look forward to seeing your recommendations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, number 30. We are gonna have to add a 31.
I heard that.
So just hold on tight. Number 30, to consider communications and community engagement services with Goff Public. Mr. Linwood?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As you know, the city has now moved forward with a due diligence phase for the potential purchase of property and to serve as our future city hall facility, and also conjunction with trying to do a renovation here for our the needs of our Wyoming Fire Department. We have extensive needs here for safety, space, operational, and these are really truly transformative projects for the community. And we're really looking at this as a public investment, and to really make sure that we're making sure that these have appropriate scope, scale, visibility, efforts to make clear, consistent, and proactive communication to the community and engagement. And really talk about the reason the city is pursuing the projects, the process of the due diligence, decision-making, and approvals, how these improvements will address current and future service needs, and the anticipated timelines and opportunities for potential engagement and public input. The effective messaging will help build understanding, really dispel misinformation, as we know that's something that is really challenging for a city or any city now, trying to go forward with any, certainly a project of this scale, and then try to foster some trust in the city's process that it'll be doing. And it'll also help to ensure that stakeholders, residents, businesses, and partner agencies, and media receive timely and accurate information of every stage. Goff Public is a Minnesota-based communications and public engagement firm with extensive municipal experience. They have made a proposal for services to us, and that'll be to develop key messages and a comprehensive communications plan, to coordinate public engagement strategies during due diligence and beyond, respond to inquiries and provide ongoing updates to the community, and adjust communications tactics based on the public feedback. The firm's proposal includes an hourly rate of $225 and the initial budget of $10,000. Staff is recommending this. We do have Sarah Swenson here, and she's been waiting patiently for quite some time to talk to you all, and I think she's able to come up and stand for any questions, either directed to me or her. And actually, Ms. Swenson, if you'd be so kind, could you give a little bit of more background than I did maybe about Goff and what you hope to accomplish?
Yeah, hi, I'm Sarah Swenson. My address is 444 Cedar Street in St. Paul. I am a vice president for public relations at Goff Public. We have been in business for almost 60 years. A lot of our work is around municipal communications. So we work with a variety of governments of all sizes to help you communicate transparently with your residents and other stakeholders who are important to you, making sure that your information gets out, that you're telling the accurate stories about the work that you're doing, and including these big consequential projects like this one. So our goal is to help staff add capacity to Mr. Linwood's team to help make sure that your residents get the information that they need to make informed decisions.
Have there been projects that you've done before like this for other cities? Can you give an example?
Yeah, so we've worked extensively with the city of St. Paul on a number of their projects that have had impacts on, property tax levies. An example of that would be, they have a lot of government properties and nonprofit properties within the city, and so they had some issues with their payments in lieu of taxes, and so that added a lot of burden on the taxpayers. And so things like that, we helped with messaging around that, communications planning. It wasn't a specific building, but we have extensive experience on bonding projects in general and communications around those.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all my questions. Member Onstad?
No questions.
Member Luger?
No questions.
Member Yeager?
Okay, according to Rob's email, memo with the purchase agreement, we've been doing community engagement since 2020 on this matter?
Updates and weekly emails that go out to the community, and then we have a webpage that's dedicated to have all that information that we have from our needs assessment and the ongoing components to that. So I guess I would consider that public engagement.
So we've already been doing that. I mean, for me, if the plan is a good one, it's going to sell itself. But one thing I've noticed in the community as we've been going through recently, especially with the rezoning, that people are becoming increasingly skeptical of glib sales campaigns. In other words, as you try to sell the rezoning, nobody's buying it, and people are skeptical. And I think a communications campaign has a high probability of backfiring and would turn more people off than accepting it.
If I remember correctly, this would be the first time we would have a professional person coming in. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've never, in the time here, we haven't used any kind of professional public relations or public communications consultant in this. And I think for, like I said, the size of this potential project, and I think how important it is going to be to make sure that the communication and messaging to the community is really going to be key. And I certainly of the opinion that we have, I don't know if our communication on the rezoning has been an attempt to provide information. I don't think we have individuals that are not necessarily agreeing with that process and understood on that, but I think this brings in a professional partner that has experience with this and really will help through this process to make it transparent, informational, and really give good information to our residents.
Okay. Member Schilling?
I have no questions.
Okay. Seeing that there are no more questions, I'm going to move to consider communications and community engagement services with Gulf Public. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I do need to add number 31 onto our agenda. It's to put on a work session for September 2nd at 5:30 p.m. The session would include budget and our due diligence to continue with that budget and the property at 26263. So we just need to make a motion now?
Yeah, we would
You
we need to add that to the agenda and then have them do we need a motion, Mr. Luna, to add that to the agenda?
We're just setting the workshop?
We're just
Yes.
setting the workshop?
Then, no.
Okay, so, everybody check their calendars, September 2nd.
I'm not available.
You're not available?
Potentially, but most likely not.
Okay, we'll just say you're not.
It's first day of school. I'll be
First day
here.
of school? Can we do a Wednesday then? Can we do a Thursday?
No.
But we have
Can
a
we do?
It's also my
No?
birthday.
Oh,
So like, let's just
darn
get
it.
like
Well, we'll bring a cake, come on.
There you go. Just bring a cake,
I'm not
I'm here.
missing cake.
Okay,
I was gonna miss it, but my plans, I talked to Mr. Linwood and I did get confirmation that I will now be able to attend the September 2nd meeting. My plans have changed.
okay, Linda?
Oh, I take it this is before a council meeting, so I'd be here anyway.
Okay, so 3 out of 5 of us still,
I think, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Councilman Rowe said you cannot attend.
Me?
You
yeah,
cannot-
you're saying you
cannot.
can't attend,
There's a slight possibility I will be out of town.
Okay.
okay? And Claire,
I'm in.
I
I'm in.
understand. Yeah, I get it. Totally get it. You never miss a meeting, so I get it. So, yeah, that's fine. Is there a different day that we can possibly figure this out on your calendar?
I think if we've got 4 out of 5, we're.
We don't know if Brett, so it'd be 3,
Why?
because Brett
She
doesn't
can
know.
be here.
I'm gonna be here.
Oh, I thought you didn't want to be.
No, no.
No, she doesn't want to, but she's gonna be.
You want to be here for your birthday?
I couldn't,
There's cake.
my gosh, I couldn't think of a better way. I can
Man,
only
that's
hope,
dedication.
I
That's
can
all
only
for
hope that
me.
September 2nd extends to 9:30 again.
Okay, so, all right, so I need a motion to approve the September 2nd, 5:30 work session for budget and due diligence on the property. Do I have a first?
So moved. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We set the date. Seeing that it's so late, we're just gonna forego council reports. Is that okay? Unless you really have something that you wanna talk about.
Do it all at the same time.
I don't have any reports, so don't.
Okay, do you wanna do a report on sewer?
I don't want to do a report on sewer.
Okay.
But Stomp Out Suicide.
Oh, go
was-
ahead. Yeah, it was amazing. Go
Stomp
ahead.
Out Suicide, thank you to the city staff and
Yeah.
public safety for facilitating a really important community event every year. The turnout was awesome, the weather was interesting, it was delightful.
And Member Luger is being just a little, she actually ran the whole entire thing, so
did.
kudos for that, because I didn't run any of it, so good job. And then also Stagecoach Days is coming up, so we'll just put that out there. All right, with that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.